Would you like this one?
Before we take off for Thanksgiving break, we got some games to talk about on the Extra Point, and it all starts right now. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Extra Point. I'm your host, Griffin Barfield. I'm back at the panelist desk. I got three lovely panelists with me. I have Brian Warner, Ashlyn Myers, David Poley. Guys, welcome back to the show. And we got lots to talk about, so why don't we get right into it? And we're going to start with a little bit of the Sun Belt, right? That was
Yeah, Sun Belt, baby.
Yeah, Sun Belt.
Conference.
And that's where College Game Day will be as well. We got App State going to the undefeated James Madison Dukes. Who takes this one? I mean, there's.
You want me to start?
Story of the
Of course
season.
you're going to start, Brian.
I'm the Duke fan, so.
Whoa,
we're all Duke fans.
whoa. You're
I'm
not
saying
a Duke
I
fan.
got the most immediate connection.
But you're not a Duke fan. You're a James Madison fan.
Sorry, I meant Duke's fan.
We don't root for the team
Duke's
in North
fan.
Carolina.
It's different. It's purple and gold, not blue and
Correct.
red. So, I'm going Dukes. I mean, they're just on a roll. I think it was last week that they played, was it Georgia Southern? And they were down 13-9 or something.
Gasso.
Or, not down. They were up 13-3, 13-9, something like that at half, and then they just blew it away. I mean, it was like, I think 42-14, 41-40. I'm going off by memory, so I can't remember it now. But I'm going Dukes. They're just on a roll. I think they're just going to keep on rolling, especially at home. So I'm going Dukes. I'm
Okay.
going simple and sweet. I had all my Duke thing last week, all my JMU.
Gotta stop saying Duke, dude. You're getting
know what I mean.
confused.
When I say
I don't
Duke,
know what
you
you
know.
mean.
I know
All
in
right.
my heart it's purple.
I'm going to go with JMU. I love JMU. I think, get them into a bowl, keep it rolling. App State, usually a very good team. Their head coach coming up from the FCS. There's going to be a little familiarity here between the two teams. Sun Belt matchup. App State no longer does have former Clemson quarterback Chase Bryce. New quarterback this year, new system, running the ball a little more. Think they'll make it tough, muck it up for JMU, but it's going to be the Dukes.
I agree. I'm also going to go with James Madison. I think after their game last week, after their season, I think it's just going to continue. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, we might have jinxed this, but I'll take JMU as well. I mean, they have been the story of the season. Get them in a bowl game, like David said. Hopefully we get to see a JMU Liberty bowl game. I think that'd be fun because they're both undefeated at the end of the year.
JMU Air Force.
You got a point, but. I don't know. I'll roll with the high end. College Game Days there. It's going to be rowdy. We'll see what happens there, though. Speaking of places that will be rowdy Saturday, why don't we talk about our own home here in Clemson? They're hosting the number 20 North Carolina Tar Heels, who had an impressive win over Duke. They won in double overtime in a thriller. Does Clemson take another one, or does UNC spoil a senior day?
I guess I'll start Clemson based on I'm not super confident. North Carolina's 7-2. Their defense is pretty bad. And Clemson's offense is not very good. So, I think it'll cancel out and Clemson will actually be able to move the ball. The thing that makes me lean Clemson is why are we 6.5-point favorites? You look at the spread, and that usually tells you what to go with the game. 6.5 points is interesting for a 6-4 team versus an 8-2 one. And then you think about the strength of schedule, and the college football math, if you will, between, like a Clemson and a Duke, and then a North Carolina and a Duke. And you're like, this doesn't make sense. Clemson was terrible against Duke, and, North Carolina beat Duke in overtime, this and that. But the spread is going to be like, everybody's going to pick North Carolina. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, the higher ranked team, 6.5 points favorites. Usually the rule is you get 3 for home field advantage. So even on a neutral field, they're saying Clemson would still be 3.5-point favorites. That's a little crazy to me, but Vegas knows more than we do, so I'm going to go Clemson.
I'm going to agree. I'm also going to go with Clemson. I think Film Office performance 2 weekends ago was really good. I think Tyler Brown's performance last weekend was really good. I think our offense is doing a lot better, and I think if they can all utilize them all together, we can beat their pretty bad defense. So.
Okay. I'm with David to a point where it's like I saw your board, and I was half tempted just to put Clem because I was so questionable to write them down that I couldn't even finish the word. But I wrote it out anyway. I just added a question mark. So I'm gonna go Clemson. It's tough to pick against UNC just because of how well they've been doing. But at the same time, they've been on a.
They haven't been doing that well, Brian.
I'm sorry. I was thinking about the beginning. Like the beginning, they were doing pretty
Right, they
well.
started 6-0. They have 2 of the worst losses in the country.
But they did, yes. They had really bad losses to Georgia Tech and Miami, right?
No, Georgia Tech and Virginia.
Virginia. It was Virginia.
They beat Miami.
They did
beat
beat
Miami.
Okay, Georgia Tech beat Miami. That's
Yeah.
Anyway, but like, I have nothing else to say. I'm just gonna say it's because of home field advantage and it's senior day. Like that's
There we
the
go.
only reason why I would think it'd be good. I can't even make an argument, try to make a conversation. I don't have trust in this team other than the defense. But when the offense can't carry the ball, then you can't trust the defense. I mean, I saw it. Now I'm a Ravens fan, so I saw it with the Ravens this week, and I saw it with the Clemson in previous games. Like, if a defense, no matter how good they are, if an offense cannot move the ball or keep control for at least 20 minutes, your defense, no matter how good it is, can't hold up. It's just they get gassed. So I'm gonna go Clemson, but I'm a little reluctant to, even though I'm a Tiger at heart. So
Bias, Brian.
Bias Brian strikes again. I'm gonna take Clemson as well. I mean, once again, I could have just jinxed it, but what game were we talking about last week when it was I trust their defense over the opponent's defense? I forget the game we were talking about.
Ravens, Browns, and I was saying I trust the offense versus their defense.
That was it.
Yes.
I trust
Bad choice, but
I trust Clemson. It's the other way around. I trust Clemson's defense more over North Carolina's defense. I think this game is going to be a score fest. I'd say I think I put in my prediction 31-28 or something
Wow.
along those lines. But I think Clemson wins at senior day, like you said, home field advantage. It's going to be crazy. Probably the second best home game of the year, obviously Florida State. But yeah, I think Clemson pulls it out.
There we go.
Defense, late game stop. But of course, we'll see what happens. Obviously, gain some momentum before South Carolina. That's probably their biggest game on their
There we
minds
go.
now. But we'll see what happens. Next up, a little bit of a downgrade from last year, where I think it was like a number 1 versus number 3 matchup.
Yeah.
We got the number 1 team in the country, the new number 1 team in the country, the Georgia Bulldogs, after their huge win over Ole Miss. They're traveling a good old Rocky Top to take on the number 18 Vols. Is Georgia staying undefeated in this one, or do the Vols take a home win and pandemonium in Knoxville again? What happens?
I'm saying dogs reign. Well, most dogs, because I mean you can't count Mississippi State and all. Dukes and Bulldogs. I'm saying they're going to win. Georgia. I said last week.
You're all about
Tennessee,
the Dukes and Dogs today.
Dukes and Dogs, baby. I said Tennessee last week. I remember this Missouri comment. I thought Tennessee, because those were like 2 of the teams, or at least Missouri was one of the teams that I had really never watched that much of. And so I was like, I'm going to go Tennessee because I trust them. Yeah, I don't trust Tennessee anymore. They proved to me last week.
Brian,
why
they
you
got
should never.
murdered.
They got murdered. Beyond belief, beyond
Guys.
recognition,
They got
beyond
annihilated.
you couldn't even recognize who they were at that point. I thought they were Clemson from the beginning of the year because I just saw orange and people getting beat up by a blue, whatever. I'm sorry, it's anger Wednesday. But no, I'm gonna go. Tennessee just did not prove me well last week. They didn't look good last week, and you're losing to Missouri, who no one ever thinks Missouri's top in the SEC. Now they're a top 15 school, but you tell me who the top 5 team in the SEC, a random person off the street is not going to say Missouri.
Very true.
That is could be a very defining loss in Tennessee in the next year or 2. So I'm going to go Georgia. I just think Georgia's going to roll.
Sorry, Ashlyn. Go Dogs. You're gonna get murdered. With what Missouri did to, I mean, again, we're playing college football math here, but with what Missouri did to Tennessee and what Georgia just did to Ole Miss, I just don't think there's any way. Maybe.
What was the score of both games?
52-14 was
Georgia, right?
Georgia Ole Miss, yeah.
Yeah.
And then what was Tennessee's?
36-7, something like
Yeah,
that.
it was
Yeah, it was not good. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Georgia. Maybe. Hey, who knows? Maybe Joe Milton will finally start to be a good quarterback in his 4th year. Maybe not.
Guys, come on. I'm going to go with Tennessee.
I'm gonna start singing Rocky Top too to get
I'm a believer. I am hopeful I'm not going to go against my team. Got to be a real fan here. I'm hoping for the best. That's all I can say.
She's so broken.
Listen, I will give her the benefit of the doubt. I think it will be close. The question is how long will it stay close? Because obviously Tennessee's going to pack it out. It's what they do. It's going to bleed orange and blue. They'll have the stripes. They'll have everything. But I think Georgia eventually pulls away. I think Tennessee's catching Georgia at a wrong time. I think Georgia's the best team in the country. I've said Michigan for a while, but Georgia kind of blew me away last week. But I really don't see how Tennessee can win this game. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But, Tennessee can always pull it out. They could always find a way. It's college football. I mean,
Carson Beck's starting to look like himself now, which
Exactly.
is scary.
That kid
When you
looks
go from Stetson
good
to
now.
Carson Beck, and all of a sudden it's like a repeat, and I'm like, God, we're going to be like tortured by this Carson Beck for the next 3 years, and then he's going to be like a number 1 pick. But it was, I don't know. I think it will be close, though. I think you're right.
yeah, I think it will be close. I think Georgia wins by like 10 points. But you might,
saying it's gonna be
might
closer.
disagree with me.
Give me Georgia and the number, and I'm going to hammer it.
I'm saying it's going to be close, as in it's not going to be as much of a blowout between Ole Miss and Georgia or
No,
Tennessee.
not at all.
I think it's going to be like 17 points. That's still a blowout.
You still think Georgia covers?
What's the line?
Yeah, what is it?
I think the line is 14.5, something like that.
That's
I could see Georgia covering,
like the plus minus thing.
but I don't see
Okay,
him
that's
going.
pretty bad.
I don't.
That's pretty.
Not that I don't see him. I just at home it's kind of tough to see him go.
I'd sprinkle a little on Tennessee.
Real, like money line or just to cover
No,
the spread?
not money line, but I think that the
was like,
game's
okay,
I think the
like-
game's gonna be close.
Let me see if I can find the spread here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be between 10 and 14 points. So I'll roll with Georgia. I'll lay Tennessee with the points. I know we're not a betting show, but
That's Skittles. Or M&Ms.
let's move on. And we probably have the biggest game in terms of college football playoff.
Oh, 8.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Tough.
So
Hammer.
maybe I hammered
Responsible.
Georgia, but that will be a good game for sure. But another good one right in the Pac-12. These games never stop getting good. We have the number 5 Washington Huskies after their big win last week. They're traveling to Corvallis, Oregon to take on the number 11 Oregon State Beavers. Tough one. This one, a lot of people argue that this one should be College Game Day and not JMU, but nevertheless, this one's going to be awesome. Who takes it?
This is the danger zone. This is the danger zone. This is make it or break it for the Huskies. If they lose this, they're dead, in my opinion. I don't think the committee's going to put a one-loss Pac-12 champion with all the crazy scenarios that could happen. I also think Oregon is looking like a way better team than Washington has since that game. They lose 36-33, but Oregon has looked absolutely dominant ever since, and Washington's just been loafing it. So this is a really tough place to play. I like the Huskies, but I'm going to go Oregon State. I don't think that Washington's good enough. I'll rephrase. I don't think the Washington defense is good enough to go undefeated. I think that offense is studly, but Oregon State, great offensive line. DJ, they're going to make it tough. DJ looked great last week. So I'm going to go Oregon State.
I'm also going to go with Oregon State. I just think watching, as a Clemson fan, watching DJ there compared to here, it's like he just clicks with their offense. And you can really see that with how they've been playing this season. I really think they're going to win this week.
You want to go first because I look at your board.
Yeah, I'll take. I like Oregon State, and like you said, DJ looks a lot better. He's comfortable there. They have a really good offensive line. They have a really great run game, and at that point, I think if you give DJ enough time, he's going to be comfortable. I don't trust the Washington defense to break that. I'm going to take Oregon State, especially at home.
See, so I'm just still going to trust the Huskies. Like I said,
Listen.
this is a dog week. It's a dog world, like they used to say. What, dog eat dog world?
Dog eat
or
dog
whatever?
world.
Yeah. I'm sticking with the Huskies. It's another type of dog. Yeah, bias Brian. We got it. But I do think that Washington will win. Like you said, their defense is a liability. It's not good. When the offense is off, the defense is either on a lucky day, when against Arizona State, when they had a lucky day to beat them. But I think this offense is really good. I think Oregon State's going to be really good. I'm thinking a 35-31 type of game, pretty close. Huskies are going to pull it out. But if they lose this game, that's going to be redefining their whole season. They're probably going to drop out of the top 15. Maybe not top 10. Sorry. Top 10. I could see them drop out of the top 10 if all the teams between them win. Because Oregon State would come in to the top 10. And then you have Oregon will move up. And then I can't remember the rest of the top 10. I think Alabama's in.
A couple
Alabama's
other
up,
teams.
Texas
So
is
forth.
up.
So I think they're going to go to 11, 12 is where they would probably drop. But I still think the Huskies will win. I believe in them. I think Penix is having an unbelievable year. He's had some few down games. I'm not going to say he was perfect, but I think he's going to be able to pull him through a win.
I think this is a big game for Washington in terms of Heisman. You know, Michael Penix, obviously, he's been the front runner. Now Bo Nix is. You got Jaden Daniels coming in. This is his.
That guy should win the Heisman.
I think he should. I think he should too. And I've been saying there's a Pac-12 quarterback's going to win it all, but we'll see. But speaking of teams that could drop or that are dropping, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills. We're going to move on to the buy or sell section of the show now. We got 5 takes. You guys buy it, sell it. Pretty straightforward. And it comes to the Buffalo Bills. They lost to the Denver Broncos. I believe it was at home, right? They lost at home to the Denver Broncos on Monday. Their record is now 5-5. So the take is this: the Buffalo Bills will miss the playoffs.
Instant sell. Immediate sell. They have a lot of talent. They just fired the offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey. You consider that wasn't getting done. They go to Joe Brady. Joe Brady, LSU offensive coordinator for the national title team, failed in Carolina. Wasn't his fault they failed in Carolina. Matt Rule was his head coach, and the entire Panthers organization was a cluster around him. They're going to be able to move Josh. They're going to have him stay in the pocket. Allen's got to play better, but the Bills have enough talent in an AFC that really isn't that bad. They're going to be competing for the wild card for sure. Dolphins have a chokehold on the division. Jets going to be fighting with them on the wild card. The Jaguars have the control on that division, but then you got a team like the Texans who came out of nowhere. They're fighting for that wild card. The AFC North. But I do think that the Bills will be the 6th or 7th seed in the playoffs. I think they have a lot of talent. I think they'll right the ship. I think McDermott's a good coach in terms of culture.
I'm going to buy it. So looking at the rest of their games of the season, they overall, like, some games are obviously more important than other games in the sense of getting to playoffs, but like as a whole, they have a 19% chance of making it to the playoffs. And I don't like that number, so I don't think they're going to make it.
Want to take this? You're writing it
I'm
down.
writing down words because I'm looking at all the AFC North teams that are in the hunt right now that I think could make a run. And that's not simply that
You got to
better.
you got to rule off like the locks though.
Well, let's put it this way. The locks are probably Chiefs, Ravens, Dolphins. I'm looking more at strength of schedule,
Yeah.
not as much as like winning, but you're at least going to make the top 7. Jaguars will make it.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 main divisions.
Right.
Now you're looking, you got the Bengals, Steelers, Texans, Browns, Bills, Chargers, Jets. If the Jets do return Rodgers, I could see them making a push.
It might not be in time though. That's the thing.
That's the thing. So I'm going to toss off the Jets. Do we trust the Chargers enough?
No.
I don't know.
I don't
Because
trust the
they're on a
Bills.
hot streak
I don't
right
trust
now.
the Chargers more than I trust the Bills.
Chargers
They had a
5-5
great
too?
game
Are
against the
are
Lions, but
500?
they did. Yeah, 5.
They're around
They're either 5-5 or 4-6, something like that. Yeah.
Because they just lost a great game to the Lions, which are one of the best teams in the NFC.
Right.
Right.
So
In the NFL.
yeah, one of the best teams in the NFL. So you look at them, that's questionable. The Browns just lost to Deshaun Watson.
Dead.
So I'm kind of thinking they're dead, but I mean at the same time the defense could carry. So you're looking. I don't think the Steelers would make it. I wouldn't be shocked if the Steelers or if the Texans make a push. I got Bengals going in. I think I would buy this simply for the change of the offensive coordinator, and this is a very long list. I think I'd buy this simply for the change of the offensive coordinator. Sell. Sorry, I think they will make the playoffs. That's my thing. Simply because of the change of the offensive coordinator and the fact that some of these other teams, like the Browns, the Jets, they're missing key positions that they can then succeed in to the playoffs. Like the Browns might make it in, but they don't have a quarterback, so their defense could be playing phenomenal. But do you trust P.J. Walker or DTR? What's his name?
Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson to make it in. Do you trust the Steelers to make it? They're not going to fire their offensive coordinator. They're not going to do anything with him. So I'm going to sell this because I do think the Bills will find a way to make it, but I don't think they're going to be a higher than a 6 seed. So that's a long answer, but
I mean, I'm buying this, and I'm looking at the Bills' schedule right now, and they have a complete gauntlet of a schedule. Sunday, they play the New York Jets, who they always have trouble against the Jets. They lost week 1 without Rodgers. Then they have the Eagles in Philly. You're not winning there. And that's a 425 game. They have the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Tough game. I don't think they pull it out of there. You have the Cowboys, who are probably one of the hottest teams in football, and they know how to turn the ball over. You got the Chargers, and then you have the Dolphins in the last week. I don't see them winning half of those games.
It's a heck of a schedule.
what are they now?
They're 5-5. They have a great chance of going. If everything goes wrong, they have a great chance of having a losing record. For sure.
So I think the Eagles and Dolphins are almost locked because Dolphins in Miami, isn't it?
The Dolphins is Miami, yeah.
Which
I think
they
they
always
win.
put.
I think they win that game.
Buffalo?
I could see them, but they always put the away team in
Why?
the sun, in the heat.
Because they killed Miami the first time. I don't think that people are going to show out for Miami in the that colder weather. I think that's a game where they just tough bully ball, and they beat
In
them.
Miami?
Yeah.
I think that
Miami's not that good of a home field advantage. I'll be
No, but it
completely
is
honest.
very hot, and Bills aren't used to that. And
It won't be hot in
you're
December.
also forgetting
What
that
about
that game is in week 18, so they may have people benched.
Right.
They might have Tua. They might have Tyreek benched. They might have
It's also going to be like January. It's not going to be
To me,
warm.
if I
It's
had
gonna
to
be like
look,
50 degrees.
I think looking directly at the Bills'
In
schedule,
Miami?
you would believe they wouldn't make it. But then you have to look at who else
like
would beat them
a
out.
little warm.
That's when I made the list.
I mean, I think
like
that
tough. That was what I was
think
thinking.
for sure it's at least one AFC North team.
Yeah.
I think you can throw a second in there potentially. You can throw the Jets in there. You can throw, the Texans who are hot.
Broncos are hot.
Broncos are hot. Do I think they make a push?
No, absolutely not.
The
But
Chargers have a better
Broncos
chance,
are
and the
good.
Chargers and the Bills play each other. That could be in the hunt wild card. But the Bills are the Bills. They win games though. They win games that you don't expect them to win. Same thing with like the Kansas City Chiefs. Which we'll get to. I'm buying it. I mean,
Okay.
just because of that, just because their schedule is so hard. If they didn't have that hard of a schedule, maybe I'd sell it. But
Yeah.
If they had their last year's schedule where they play like all these weak
exactly.
winless teams.
Exactly. But we were talking about the Jets though, and that's our next point. We're talking about the Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers towards Achilles week 1, and now I think it was on the Pat McAfee show. He said that he could be back in mid-December, which that's nuts. It takes a year to recover from that. So that's your buy or sell take. Aaron Rodgers will return this season.
I'll go bye. I think the guy's crazy. As somebody who grew up watching Aaron Rodgers, who loves Aaron Rodgers, I think the guy is an absolute nut. I think that all he's been doing really is like working. You see him, doing the stuff with J.K. Dobbins. He's working. He's trying all these things, and he looks great. Like he's out of the boot. He's like making throws. Like he's doing stuff that, like. Everybody's like, it was impossible to run a 4-minute mile in the 1800s until that guy did it in the early 1910s. It was impossible to go to the moon until we did it. We could just be seeing like some natural type remedies, and he's just tough enough. The guy who will put in the work and make it work. I'm buying. Also, they need him back pretty bad, so I think that'll incentivize.
I feel like if it was anybody else, they wouldn't come back.
Mm-hmm.
But, and like I saw this thing that said like he had been overheard talking to somebody on camera, and it was like, oh, like I'll be back in a few fortnights, like saying he was gonna come back soon, and people are like, no, don't come back. And I feel like if it was anybody else, they wouldn't. But I think he'll come back probably late, like at the end of the season for sure. They need him.
I'm going to buy this. I guess I'll show my board. My funny take for the buy is that he's just going to come in and like snap the ball for a kneel, and that'll be like his playing of the season. But in all seriousness, I do think he will come in. Like David said earlier, I think it will be too late to change just because of the timing. I mean, if the Jets even want to make a push for the playoffs, which this isn't the question, but if the Jets even want to make a push, he would have to come in within like 2 weeks or 3 weeks maybe. I don't see him coming in that early, especially off Achilles. I think Cam Akers, made a 9-month recovery, which was the fastest until now. So whatever he's doing in the hills of Oregon or the mountains of Oregon, whatever it was, mountains of Montana, I don't remember where he was. Whatever he's doing, I guess, working pretty well, at least from our public eye, from what we're told. So I do think he will make a recovery, but I think it's not going to be till like week 16 or 15. So the Jet season will not be going into late January, but I do think he'll make a return. So I'm going to buy it.
I just changed my answer. I'll give it quick. I'm gonna sell it. I think that he's going to get prevented of some sort. And with that being said, I don't think the Jets are gonna make a push. I think they'll lose like 2 or 3 and be in a place where they have to. I don't see it. Like I really don't. Like the way that he went down and the way that an Achilles is like healed, it takes a year. It takes 9 months a year. I mean, could I see it happening? Of course. It's Aaron Rodgers. He's 39, 40 years old. He's got a little bit left. But I think they hold him out, or they do what you said, Brian, and just throw him out last play, give him a knee, or who knows. But I hope he does. But I don't see it happening like realistically.
Isn't it also if he plays like a certain amount of snaps, they have to give up a first-round pick? Wasn't that part of the deal?
Oh, yeah.
So couldn't they keep him out too?
Yeah.
I forgot about that until I have a Packer fan in my floor. Shout out Cyrus. He's had a rough time recently just because the Packers, but
Because we suck.
he was watching like Rodgers trade, and obviously he's upset. But he told me that it was like a deal was first round and a
Conditional.
second. Yeah, a conditional first and a first, like a solid first and a conditional first. If he plays like 65% of the snaps, so I'm wondering if they hold.
It already won't get there, so
Well, that's true because you're just over halfway.
Yeah.
So and he only played 4 snaps.
Right.
It's like not gonna add up. But
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see what happens for sure. I mean, that's the best thing that we could say. I mean, knowing him, he could be back next week if the doctors let him. But moving on from that, we're going to the MLB. And I know it's the off season. There's not much to talk about, but probably the hottest athlete, probably the most talented athlete in sports is on the free agent market, and that is Shohei Ohtani, the two-way player. I don't know. I forget when free agency actually opens, but yeah, he is projected to go to the Los Angeles Dodgers, but he's been looked at by a couple of those West Coast teams, San Francisco Giants. I've heard Atlanta Braves too. A lot of places where he can go. He basically gets free choice and he gets a blank check. So, buy or sell, Angels player Shohei Ohtani will join the Los Angeles Dodgers at the end of free agency.
You can go.
I guess I'll start again, but
I can start if you want me to. I just got to think about my answer.
you got it.
As much as it seems, I'm not going to say right because it would be awful, but like as much as it seems logical, I guess is a better way to put it, that Shohei would look good in a Dodgers uniform, like it just seems like it fits, I'm going to sell it. I just think there's so many better opportunities. I don't know about better. It just seems like so fantastical. Would that be the word? Like fantasy type.
Yeah.
Like fantasy football, like fantasy baseball. Like that's what it feels like. I just don't. I guess they have the cap money, but I don't see it happening. He wants to stay on the West Coast. I get that, but there are a lot of other good teams, a lot of other good markets. New York Yankees is one team I've seen. I wouldn't be the biggest fan as an Orioles fan, but they could if the Angelo family decides to get a little like happy and spend the money for the Orioles. I would love it, but I don't see that happening. I just don't see him going to the Dodgers. I would probably see him going to the Yankees almost more than the Dodgers. I just think the money-wise, like you're getting a lot more money going over in New York. But he wants to stay on West Coast, so I'm gonna still say so.
Evil Empire, baby. I don't think he goes to the Yankees. I'd love it if he did as a Yankees fan. I'll go sell. I think he's going to the Mets. I think the Mets are going to do it. I think Stevie Cohen, that Uncle Steve, that type guy. You're a Mets fan, right? Oh.
That would make my day.
Yeah, I think it's either going to be the Mets or the San Francisco Giants. I think both teams have done their due research. Both teams are going to throw the bag at him. It's just going to be a matter of, I guess, where he wants to go. And, there's a chance he chooses San Francisco. They're a better team. They're ready to contend now. But who knows? Mets will throw the bag at him more than any other team.
Oh, for sure.
I'm going to buy it just because it, makes the most sense. He would get to stay in Southern California, wants to stay on the West Coast, and they're, a good, solid team. They're pretty reliable. It's not, too much of a wild card, so I feel like it just makes the most sense. But also, people like that usually don't do what makes the most sense, so I'm still going to buy it.
I mean, can I see it happening? Obviously. I'm going to sell it. I'm not saying he's going to go to the Mets, but I just see him going somewhere else, and I feel like it shocks the world. And I know we haven't talked about, the Boston Red Sox, but, at the same time, that's what a lot of these baseball clubs have done. They've bought these players overseas to try to, influence them. That's what the Mets did with, what's-his-face, Senga. Who did the Red Sox have? The left fielder.
Masataka Yoshida.
Him, too. I mean, I think they're just trying to put a little word in his ear. And I mean, I've heard the Atlanta Braves too. The Braves going all in on him, and I mean, I'd hate that, but I just there's so many different rumors. I don't think he's fixed on the Dodgers. I think he's.
I'd agree.
I think
the
he's
Red Sox were his second choice after he decided to sign with the Angels.
I mean, and how iconic it is to play there too.
Right.
It's iconic to play for them. It's iconic to play for the Yankees. If he wants to be a club legend, he has to play somewhere there.
I feel like it would almost be ironic if he comes out and says, I signed a new deal with the Angels. Because he seems like a loyal type. I don't know. He doesn't seem as airheaded as some of these other.
Yeah, but that's like staying loyal to an ex-girlfriend when she's cheated on you 5 times. Like the Angels organization has been proven to be incompetent. You see what they
But
do
you
with
also
Mike
have Mike
Trout.
Trout there.
The guy's trying to sell the team.
Trout's always hurt though. That's the thing.
I don't know. It just I don't see him staying.
At some point, you got to wake up.
I just said I wouldn't be shocked if he goes.
How often
I
do
do find it a
people
little bit hard
do
that he
that,
could go
though?
across town.
What?
Wake up.
That's true. I don't strike, Shohei Ohtani as the delusional type, though.
I would find it hard though for him to go across town to the rival.
That is too.
That would be like LeBron going to the Clippers like in a week.
No, it wouldn't.
Like right now, like going from the Lakers to the Clippers. Like if he would switch.
Nah, it'd be like LeBron going to the Celtics.
The Angels.
Well, yeah.
It's
No,
that's
I'm
like
saying
no. You
I'm
guys are
saying
saying this way too much. No, there's 0 degree of that. Like in the baseball terms, the Dodgers are the rivals to the Angels the same way a hammer is to a nail. Like the Angels and Dodgers don't like the Dodgers. Do you think the Dodgers care about the Angels?
No. But I'm saying about his loyalty. Like to me, he seems like he's a loyal person. So why would he go to the crosstown team, the crosstown run?
So
That's just what I'm thinking. But
Opposite leagues, though.
yeah,
Like the Angels.
But that's like Ravens.
suck.
Ravens Commanders have a rivalry as well. It's not huge, but when one player goes to, you never really see a Ravens player going to a.
I don't think it's a rivalry. I think they're just close to each other.
like
You
relative
don't-
team.
I mean,
you
yeah,
don't
they're in
have-
the same division, but they don't like. It's more Dodgers more or like the Giants.
Yeah, Dodgers, Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Giants, Padres. A's,
yeah.
A's, Angels, maybe if both of those teams were actually good. It's like,
He ain't going to the A's.
I know.
I bet I'd put my life savings. He does not go to the A's.
You want a free buy or sell one? Shohei Ohtani is not going to the A's.
They just want another Shintaro Fujinami.
We'll give you $5.
That's all.
That's all we can afford.
Yeah, but that's day by day basis. I don't know if free agency is open or not. But
Yeah, a couple more
Turn
days.
around the A's though. Like if he got signed to the A's, hypothetically, we're playing fantasy baseball.
Oh, for sure.
He can go to Dodgers. Do you think they would have a winning season?
No, absolutely not.
no, they wouldn't because baseball is the biggest team sport.
100%.
Do you think they'd be like close to 500?
No.
No. Shohei, he has Tommy John. He's
But
not
I mean,
pitching.
hitting all
If he was but even if he was fully healthy, hitting every day, pitching every day, and he was fully everything, they would still be probably 60.
It would bring in a
something
ton of
else.
fans.
When he's not
It would bring in a
gonna
ton of
pitch
fans because
until
all those
2025.
Japanese fans are Angels fans. All those Japanese
So-
fans are Angels fans
It's true.
Yeah.
because they always follow that player. And I mean, you could say the same thing about like the Boston Red Sox and Yoshida and the Mets and Senga, and they follow guys.
Yeah,
that
you can
are-
see history of it. Yeah.
Hot take: A's go to the World Series if Ohtani's.
Absolutely.
I can't even say that with a straight
I wish
face.
that, I
It's
wish
not gonna
I wish
happen.
they could.
Shut
I wish
up.
they could. That would change the world. But wherever he goes, though, it should be fun. Get your popcorn ready. This free agency will probably be a bloodbath for him. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. But moving on to the NBA, the whole in-season tournament, and I know it started, I believe, 2 weeks ago. It started with the whole season, the new courts, the new jerseys. But I don't know about you, and I'm about to hear your guys' takes for this. Here's the take: it is the NBA's in-season tournament will be a success come the end of the season. If you guys have been watching.
Before I answer, can someone explain to me what exactly the goal of the in-season tournament is?
It's-
What it is?
so
'Cause
it's-
I've never understood. I can't find it anywhere online.
So it's basically like a World Cup style. So basically, the East has 3 groups and the West has 3 groups.
Yeah.
And it's like they all play each other. I don't know if it's once or twice. And then they go by win or loss record, and then they get put in like a playoff. They get like put in like a knockout bracket. And then there's like wild card teams like the NFL. It's all based off how many wins you have. And then you basically play, and the winner gets like a trophy at the end. It gets a trophy. But
so it's like a mid-season championship.
yes, but the wins count to your regular season record. The wins and losses count to your regular
It's
season.
like regular games, but they just count a section of it towards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Brian, the prize, you were wondering, $500,000 to each player.
On the team
Yeah.
Hey, bragging rights. I don't know.
and a trophy.
No, then I'll start. Sal, this midseason tournament is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Adam Silver's a dumb idea. It means nothing. Do you think most of these NBA guys care about 500,000? 800 something is the league minimum. It's like, I get it, but you think it just doesn't make any sense. What's the goal? This is like, the Carabao Cup is the similar thing in English soccer. It's the Premier League and some of the championship teams. That's the closest comparison. That actually means something something because it's a separate trophy. Like it's like it has tradition behind it, and you build. You can see the upsets of like, oh my gosh, these League One team beat this championship team beat the Premier League team. You can go through, and even to that point, it doesn't really matter. It's the least valuable of every single trophy in English football, like of the main top division. This is stupid. Sell it. Get it out of my screen. This is dumb.
So, I am gonna buy it. I think it's more about like the fans than it is about the players. Like the players don't really care about a trophy. They have enough, but it's like it's gonna put more importance on regular season games. So the fans are like, oh, this matters more, like because they have so many games. And like people don't really care about that stuff until it's like the end or like the finals, like the real playoffs. But if it's like kind of like playoffs, people are gonna be like, oh, this is really important, and they're gonna care. And then the teams are gonna be like, oh wow, we have fans now.
NBA viewership isn't down because they didn't have a mid-season tournament that means absolutely nothing, and it's down, and the regular season games aren't important because guys are sitting. The game's worse than it was. There's more flopping, complaining, like everything like that, and it's hard to get everybody to market basketball. Like I know most of my friends who love sports hate basketball, but not college basketball. They love college basketball. They hate the NBA. So this is not the solution.
I mean, if you were putting a parlay down, are you going to be more likely to do it in a tournament game or just like a normal one? Does it like matter? Because I feel like some people,
not really if I'm a
it would
gambler,
matter.
no.
Like I just feel like some people are gonna be like, oh, like this is a tournament, like it's cool.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm gonna buy this one as well. I agree with Ashlyn. I think it just improves viewership, and you add the courts, you add the jerseys, it adds a little bit.
Courts are
different feel.
gross.
I mean, they are gross, but
Hater.
they get people.
On this, yes.
They get people talking about it, and that's all Adam Silver wants. He wants people to talk about the sport. He wants people to turn it on and watch it. That's all he's doing. And I mean, I've been watching these games. And have they been fun? I mean, they're like a traditional basketball game, but they mean more. And that's all he wants. He just wants players to play for something bigger. Maybe if it's for $500K or for a bag, feel free. But I think it's going to end up being a success. And I know that there was like a new rule added for load management and for all that, but it's working. And I think I'll watch probably the games going up to it in the final. And I think some players, it means a little bit to them too, and it means a little bit to a coach to know that he did well in a mid-season tournament. It's going to mean more going down the line, I think.
And the title is just simply a marketing ploy. Like that's all
It's just a marketing, yeah.
I'm going to do something that I've never done on the show, and I hope I don't do it again, at least not continue multiple times. I'm going to buy and sell it. And the only reason why I say that,
He's holding it.
I am going to hold it. Yes, that is the word I'm looking for. I'm going to hold it because there are parts where you want to buy for both players and fans, and there are parts you want to sell for players and fans. Most of the fans aren't, whenever it's brought up, there are not a lot of fans that support it. Like, there's not a lot going, oh, did you watch the in-season tournament game the other day? Like, there's part of, but at the same time, the fans are talking about it. So you're selling it to the fact that, are the fans enjoying it? No. But you're buying in the fact that the fans are at least mentioning the name NBA a lot more. And they get, although most of the jerseys are great, it's another reason to bring in more jerseys, another reason to bring in more marketing, another reason to get the fans talking, whether it's good or bad publicity, it's still publicity. For the players, LeBron James, I remember there was an interview where he sounded like he was targeting that $500,000 as if it was $500 billion. Like, he's acting as if
You're
that's
going to take LeBron James's corny words of, like,
I'm just saying, when
gospel.
When the GOAT or close to GOAT, however you may see him, talks about $500,000 like it's
The guy talks about books he's never read.
Still talks about them and still aims for him, and he still
Sings songs
reads
he
them.
doesn't know the lyrics to.
I always love the.
Did you see that video?
I love the one where it was. He was like, "What's the greatest matchup of all time?" And it's like LeBron versus page 2 of a book.
Yeah.
That's like that's the greatest rivalry. And someone responded, "It's not a rivalry if you can't get past the second page."
Or the,
I thought that was the funniest thing. But like to me, I just think there's certain parts for the players. Some of them, like ones earning $800,000 a season, like that's what they're earning. They're going to aim for that $500,000 more, even if they don't play. I mean, you're looking at some of the rookies that might be second round, undrafted. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head just because I haven't watched.
$500K is a house.
That is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you got to think of fines. Think of Draymond Green, who gets fined for headlocking Rudy Gobert. He's going to win that $500,000 back in reimbursement because you just spend it on fines.
But these guys who make the 800 ground, they're on the bench. Do you think Jason Tatum's really going to be extra motivated to win $500,000 when he's getting?
I mean, then again,
when he's getting paid $40 million already?
He's not going to be motivated for himself. He's going to be motivated from his teammates. It's the person.
This is the NBA.
Yes, and some of these people are much more loyal to their teammates than they are to others. They'll give up passes to let other teammates score their first
James
time.
Harden. You think James Harden gives
That's
a
one guy.
dang about
Why do you think the
anybody on the
Clippers lost
Clippers?
That's one guy.
Yeah.
But if you look at all these other
One
people as a
person.
whole,
I can name probably a bunch of other ball hogs who don't really care.
but the
about
thing is that a team as a
Michael
whole,
Porter Jr.
swing the
the
rock.
team as a whole, I'm just saying the team as a whole, there are a lot more guys that care for each other like a family, like a brotherhood, than there are that would just say, I don't need the money, so I'm going to screw up. Because at the same time, it's
No,
also,
I don't think it's going to be.
also,
I get the money and screw up. I don't think it's adding an extra to the.
I think it would,
stars.
depending on the person you have that's leading it. Jason Tatum, I think, is someone that would care for that 15th guy on the bench. Hey, he needs that $500,000 to pay for a medical bill for his family. I think they would be motivated for that. He needs to pay that $500,000 so he could pay his house mortgage. I think there are people where that's where I think it'll become a success. But I don't think it's going to be a full-on 100%. Everyone's going to love it. That's why I'm not. That's why I'm in the middle holding it. That is basically.
You're going to wait to see the votes.
I really want to see how well the first round of the playoff part goes.
Yeah.
If that goes off well, I would buy it. If it goes off poorly, I would still I'd probably sell it. I'd probably be selling it. So that's where I'm at right now. I think it's too early.
No, I get that, and it's something to think about long term. But obviously, we'll see how the rest of the group stage games go, and the playoffs and the championship. But I mean, I've been excited for this tournament. I'm excited to see who wins it. See if it's different than the NBA champion. But we'll see what happens for sure. But there's never an extra point show without mentioning Colorado. And we always have to cover it. I mean, it's mandatory. And we'll talk about Deion Sanders. And again, we're looking really far down the line because there have been some rumors that come out that have recruits that are, committed to Colorado have backed out after seeing how Colorado has been doing. So yeah, and Colorado's also moving to the Big 12 next year. They're leaving the Pac-12, so they're joining a new conference. They got Deion at the helm. Shedeur, I think, is back another year. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter as well. So here's the take. Colorado will be a threat in the Big 12 as long as Deion Sanders is at the helm. Buy or sell?
I would like Ashland to start.
One second.
Aw.
Hold on. Who's in the Big 12 right now?
So nice.
Well, Texas and Oklahoma are leaving.
So kind.
I just want to overview.
BYU, Oklahoma State, UCF, Cincinnati, Kansas State, Baylor, Kansas. Keep it going.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you saying they're a threat
Houston.
to Big 12 alone, or a threat to like the All NCAA?
I'm just gonna say the Big 12. Like, are they gonna be a threat? Like, you'll
Say
see
to
them
win.
in the conference championship. Like, do you see him in a championship?
That changes my perspective a little bit. Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify. Go ahead, Aston.
Say the thing that's written here after you say that thing.
Okay, so I think Colorado is going to be a threat, but it's going to depend if he stays. So I saw this thing, and he's gotten like offers from other places, and like he might go to Texas A&M. And, like, if he does that, that would be great. I think that's probably going to happen, but he has changed the direction of the team, given them a lot of publicity, like changed their trajectory so much. So I think he's already done a lot for the team, but I don't think he's going to stay.
He said
Yeah.
such a big effect that even the women's basketball team's doing well.
That's why I'm going to sell. I think if he stays, 100% national title contenders in a couple years.
Really?
A&M just paid $77 million to buy out Jimbo Fisher. In their home game against Mississippi State at halftime, they had their boosters present a check of $140-some million. That's basically the buyout money that they used for Jimbo Fisher. You don't think that those crazy guys down in College Station, Texas aren't going to throw the absolute bag on Coach Prime? You're crazy. And you don't think the NCAA's corrupt organization won't let Shiloh and Shedeur transfer for the fourth time or whatever over to Texas A&M? Of course they will. It's publicity. Deion Sanders, in my opinion, it's going to be either him or Mike Elko. One of those two guys is going to be the next coach of the Texas A&M Aggies. And that's what I wanted to come in here talking about it. This gives me something to talk about. Texas A&M, it's a top 12 job probably in the entirety of college football at its best. And I think this is Coach Prime written all over it. But I think he's a great coach, great recruiter. Wherever he goes, it'll be a national title. So if he stays in Colorado, they'll be a national title contender in a couple years. They just got to get the big
Better
boys.
than me.
You want to build
No,
on
you
that?
said it better than me.
So
That's what I meant.
not quite the way you might think. I'm going to build sideways. So I went and sell at first because for some reason I was thinking Pac-12 and I forgot they're going to transfer to Big 12.
Pac-12 doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I forgot. So
Two.
Pac-2 now. So we're going. You're selling. I'm selling the fact that I don't think they're going to be national title contenders because you got to think they're losing Shador, they're losing Travis Hunter in a year or two.
The recruits are crazy. Even
But a
if they
lot of the
lose it.
recruits are decommitting. Like
It's not a lot. They lost one
I mean, it doesn't
four-star
matter.
and then a
Travis
couple
Hunter
guys.
was the top overall guy in the class of what 2021.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he went to Jacksonville State.
He followed Deion Sanders.
To Jacksonville State.
But how long did Deion Sanders stay there even with the corruptive ownership? He stayed there for 3-4 years, I
Three.
think. 3
3
years?
seasons.
I think he's going to stick with Colorado for a little while till Travis Hunter, his sons go out, and then I think he's going to move over to
That's very reasonable. I can definitely see that because, he says Shiloh and Shador are going to stay one more year at Colorado,
Plus,
then go to the NFL.
If Texas A&M, I mean, if I'm correct, Jimbo Fisher he was actually a pretty good coach before going in, wasn't he?
You won
even
a national
even in there, A&M's so crazy. That fan base is so nuts. He finished 5 in the country one year at Texas A&M, and he's had some really big years there. Last year was a bad year. This year's not that bad, but they're just they think they're so much better than they are. They think their expectations are here, and
Yeah.
they're so I don't know. It's a tough job to win at. He
That's
won a
where-
national title at Florida State.
His starting quarterback towards ACL too.
Right.
Yeah, but that's where I'm seeing, does Deion really want to go back to a place that is so corruptive? Yeah, they have more money, but I don't know if money can deal with maybe the hatred that you get so much of from fans. Maybe he's used to it. People love or hate him. That's what he is. But going back, I don't think he'll go there, so I'm going to sell that take. But going back to the original take, I see him contending for the conference title because you're losing a lot of big games. I mean, you're losing Texas, you're losing Oklahoma. But I don't see him vying for the national title when you have, I guess it's top 12, so you could go 12. I don't see him being a title contender. I might see him getting a playoff contender. I don't see him going title contender, especially when you're losing both your sons who are very talented. They're more the talented on the team right now, and you're losing Travis Hunter in a year or two. I just don't see them succeeding as high as their expectations will be in the offseason.
I mean, regardless of he goes to A&M, I'm going to buy it. I think he stays at Colorado for a very long time. He basically built Colorado to what it is in just 1 year. He has all these trademarks for Coach Prime, and he has all this merch in the Colorado stores. You really think he would jump ship to Texas A&M that fast?
Yes.
You really think?
The money's right.
Interesting. I mean, he's basically,
Listen,
he's
Deion
basically
Sanders
a
is
part
one-
owner of Colorado. He just has everything.
Right.
there
Deion
for
Sanders
him
is
now.
one of my favorite people in the entire world. I love what he does with his faith. I love what he does with his coaching and everything
100%.
like that. He's a role model to me. I've had since I was a little kid. He's probably, somebody always I've seen this going around. Who's the person alive or dead that you'd want to come to your Thanksgiving dinner?
You want Deion Sanders?
I would want Deion Sanders.
Great pick.
I love Deion Sanders. I'm a massive Deion guy. I'll support him wherever he goes. However, just because he's a really good guy and somebody I look up to doesn't mean $80 million isn't $80 million.
No point.
He's got divorce bills to pay.
He's built Colorado though, and I think he's fine recruiting wise. I don't think he.
100%, I agree.
He got the top guy to him.
He's got Cormani McLean too, so.
So I mean, I'm just gonna buy it. I'm gonna say that he slowly but surely he's gonna build it up, and he's proved it before. He's been a good coach. He was undefeated in his last year at Jacksonville State. So
I'm about to say, I just looked up his contract right now is 5 years for $29.5 million. So he's making $6.3 million.
What if A&M triples that? They could get to $90 million.
probably.
But at the same time, you're dealing with a very corrupt organization.
It's
And
not
a-
as corrupt
Maybe not
as it
corrupt,
is.
but
Corrupt's the wrong word, but it's not hatred. It's very
Nitpicky?
booster controlled.
Oh, booster control.
Yeah, alumni are all over that. I mean, just like
Oh,
Johnny
yeah.
Manziel mania. Like
The two worst booster bases in the entire country is Auburn and Texas A&M.
Yeah. And Auburn's not succeeding, and neither is Texas A&M. So, that just shows something that's there. I'm just saying, if you bring in a Jimbo Fisher type player and he can't, or a coach and he can't succeed, that might be a warning sign for Deion to, hey, just stay where you are now. A better opportunity is going to show up at some point, especially in the SEC. Maybe he goes to Vanderbilt. Maybe.
No, he wouldn't take that
in
job.
a few years. I'm just saying.
He wouldn't take that job. He would have to take it would be, honestly, because it would be an
The
Auburn type job. It'd be a Florida, if they fire Billy Napier. It'd be, look at a Tennessee.
you go to Florida State though.
What? Yeah, but he doesn't. He hates Florida State. Because they passed on him and they hired Mike Norvell, and they treated him pretty badly in the interviews. So there was an interview from earlier this season where Deion talks about, I didn't graduate from Florida State. I graduated from an HBCU. I went to an HBCU. My number 8 retired at Florida State, and it's he doesn't like Florida State. They don't have a great relationship. Now that being said, maybe down the line Norvell gets fired or something like that. Then I know he ain't, but he's a good coach. But $90 million. That'll rectify the relationship.
Yeah.
But
I see him more going to Florida than Texas A&M. Just because it just
Florida next year.
No. I'm just saying in the long run, I would see him more.
So after his son graduates and everything, and Napier doesn't work out with the Gators.
Pretty much.
That
I
would
see
make
him
a lot of
there
sense.
More than Texas A&M. He doesn't look right in Texas A&M. To me, I don't know why.
Fair.
The colors just don't match. It just.
Imagine that. Imagine one of probably the best Florida State player of all time as the head coach for the Florida Gators. That wouldn't look right either.
If he hates Florida State, though, getting back by doing Florida and then beating them every year in their bowl,
back. Yeah.
That's where I'm thinking. The maroon just doesn't look as good on him as a blue and orange in my head right now. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking. So,
I mean, they're really far down the line. But whether it comes to recruiting or obviously we'll see what happens in the next coming weeks, months, years. Maybe we'll be back 2-3 years from now.
Love college football.
Whole thing of extra point, but we'll see what happens for sure. We'll move on to the NFL pick'em, Brian, where we're talking about your team right off the cut. We got the 7-3 Ravens and the 5-4 Bengals. Both of them are coming off a loss. It is in Baltimore, AFC North matchup. Who do you guys got in this one? I'll save the best for last.
I'll go with the Ravens. Not much to it. I really love that running back. What's his name again? Keaton Mitchell. That dude's a stud.
A lot to say.
Love that guy. So then I'll just keep it short and sweet. Ravens, like him better than the Bengals, coming off a loss, bounce back.
I think I'm going to go with the Ravens, too, for Brian, even though he couldn't go for my team today. But that's okay.
Wow.
Got a pity vote. Thank
It's
you.
okay.
Any
I
vote
think
counts.
they've looked good. I've got, whenever we pick, with them most of the time, I usually feel like I'm picking the Ravens just because, they're pretty reliable. They're pretty good this year.
Good football team.
You're
Can't win a
welcome.
Super Bowl, though.
I'll take the Bengals. I scribbled out, not the Bengals. I'll take the Ravens. I scribbled out the Bengals. Yeah, I think the Ravens are one of the best teams in the country. In the country. I don't trust their offense against the Ravens' defense, referring to the Bengals, and I think the Ravens will get it done, especially at home.
If the Ravens had won last week, I would trust the Bengals' offense against them. But if you're facing a pissed off Ravens defense that just got demolished by Deshaun Watson with a broken bone and a twisted ankle, they're going to be pissed. And I think at home, they're trying to prove something right. The Ravens, I'm going with the Ravens. Keaton Mitchell is someone that I've been preaching, and you can ask my grandmother, you can ask, she's a big Ravens fan too. That's where I get most of my purple heart from. I have vented to her, to my family, they got to play Keaton Mitchell. 10 carries into his NFL career, he had 177 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the coaching staff goes, nah, we're good. We'll give you 2 more carries and then let you walk. That's it. And I'm like, how the heck, when you have to run, you're up by 14, 4 different times in the game, you need to run the ball, and you say, no, let's keep the explosive 21-year-old young back off to the side and never let him touch another ball the whole game. So they brought it up this week. John Harbaugh goes, it's just how the game went. Well, to me, that's
not coaching.
That's not coaching because you're the head coach. You can make the decisions on the field. On top of that, he then came back and said, well, I realized in hindsight we should have used him more. Well, yes, you should have. But he also said that they're going to be using him more now in the Bengals game. And with the Bengals missing Sam Hubbard, I believe, they're missing T. Higgins. They're going to be missing one of their top wideouts this year. I mean, Jamar Chase has been good. T. Higgins has been probably just as equal. I think Jamar Chase has picked it up now a little
T. Higgins
bit.
has been hurt for a good amount of games.
But he has been hurt. You're going to be losing one of your bigger X factors, I guess you could say, on offense. You're going to be missing a pivotal, I guess you say cog in their defense. He's a good end. The Ravens, if they give Keaton Mitchell enough touches, I think they could run over the Bengals defense. But I also think the Ravens' pissed off attitude at home, night game, because it's Thursday night, all black uniform, they're calling it the Men in Black. I think they're dressing up black, not just for Men in Black, but for a funeral, because I think they're going to put them in the bed. I think it's going to be a tough game, but I think the Ravens are going to win.
I think it will be the best. It will be probably the best Thursday night football game of the year so far. But we'll move on to the team that the Ravens lost to, the Cleveland Browns, and they are hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Once again, all 4 of these teams are in playoff hunt. Who do you guys like in this one? Because obviously, no Deshaun Watson out for the year, so I believe it is who's the quarterback? Not
DTR. They announced him starting
DTR,
today,
starting
yeah.
quarterback. Does he do it against the Steelers?
No, DTR sucks. Steelers, give me the uniforms. It's like, when I'm blind, it's the Browns aren't the Browns anymore, but with DTR, they might be the Browns again. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you give me the 2 uniforms, you give me the Steelers, you give me the Browns, you give me a good quarterback in Kenny Pickett, you give me a tough Steelers defense against DTR, who looked terrible in his NFL debut. It's crazy how they're not starting P.J. Walker. I don't know why, but give me the Steelers. Better defense, better offense, better everything. Papa John's.
I'm also going to go with the Steelers. I feel like they have a good offense, good explosive offense. I think they have a solid defense. They're pretty reliable. With the Browns, the big injury. In the past, the Browns haven't really been, I don't like the Browns, so.
Yeah, I don't like the Browns either. I like the Steelers. This is for my roommate, diehard Steelers fan. I just trust Steelers defense. I think they hold them to under 10 points.
I don't like either team. No, I'm just joking. But I don't see this as a Steelers-Browns game. I see this as an offense-defense game, and I'm choosing defense. I did write down defense. So, I'm in all seriousness, I think the Steelers will win. I just don't trust DTR. He's great. He's mobile. Kenny Pickett hasn't had a great year. He hasn't been bad, but he hasn't had a great year. I'm not saying he's been top. I mean,
It's not his fault.
Rank the quarterbacks out of most recent.
The offensive coordinator is incompetent.
No, but he's still there, right? So obviously you're going to have issues. I think defense is going to rule the day. I think it's going to be probably like a 13-10, 10-7 type grudge match where it's just like field goal after field goal and then 1 touchdown. That's how I see it going. I trust the Steelers defense to disrupt DTR more. I mean, the Browns could disrupt Kenny Pickett. It's a tough pick. But I don't see as much home field advantage for the Browns. I don't see it affecting it enough.
It's going to be every single Steelers game this year. They beat the Packers last week. They beat the Ravens. It's the same thing. They play. No, but I'm saying Steelers play the same game every week. They play gross. And
they find some way to
and then they win. They win by the end because the other quarterback throws an interception.
It will be a lock if
Jordan Love sucks.
If they get outgained, it will be a lock for a win. If they gain more yards than the Browns, call it a loss because that's how they've been playing this year. But I'm going to go Steelers. I trust the Steelers. I like T.J. Watt better against the backup Browns tackles than Myles Garrett against the starting Steelers tackles. I think it's how I'm going to do. Bigger disruptor.
I mean, these AFC North games are always tight. They're always very low scoring, always tight. But for sure, I'm excited to see that one. Real fast though, we're gonna skip over Vikings Broncos. I know, sorry Josh Dobbs. I know you have a very deep spot in my heart. But we're gonna move on to probably this is my favorite game. I've been saying game of the year probably every week, but this truly it's a rematch of the Super Bowl. It's a Monday night football game and it's in Arrowhead. So you're strap in, buckle up. We have the 8-1 Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Arrowhead to take on the 7-2 reigning champion Chiefs. Kelsey Bowl 2. Travis against Jason. Taylor Swift potentially in attendance.
Stop. I knew you were going to say that. Stop. She's a Philly girl, Eagles
exactly.
fan.
It's a full circle moment. It's a full circle
yeah,
moment.
I'm going to break
What do you guys like in this one?
I'm going to break my
ask one
brains
question.
open.
Will Taylor Swift be there?
Who cares, Brian? I'm going to go with the
Listen,
Eagles.
It's a Monday night primetime game. Taylor Swift.
I'm just saying, Travis Kelce might go off.
No, give me the Birds.
Factor.
Birds get the revenge factor from the Super Bowl. Get Taylor Swift off my screen. Let me see some good football. I love Taylor Swift. I'm a Swiftie, but stop.
I like the Eagles in this game. Just seeing them play every game this year versus seeing how the Chiefs have been. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be pretty close, and I feel like it's going to, maybe Taylor Swift will be the deciding factor. But I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Are both of these teams coming off the bye? Because I know the Chiefs are. I think the Eagles are too.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Chiefs are winning this game.
Wow.
I said this 2 weeks ago when the Chiefs played. I forget who they played. I said,
Broncos?
Oh, the Dolphins in Germany.
Dolphins.
I said the Chiefs are going to find a way to win this game. It was their bad loss a couple of weeks before. They just really looked really bad. I'm just this team always finds ways to win. It's at Arrowhead, and they had the Eagles number last year. I think Mahomes has a big game. Travis Kelce with Taylor Swift in attendance is going to have a big game. Obviously, you're going to see a lot of it on ESPN. But I see the Chiefs winning this game. I think I just see it. I see it.
You see it.
I see it. You know what I mean? So I like the Chiefs.
It's almost like math. Swift cancels out Swift. If you have Swift squared, it gets canceled out. No, I'm going to go with the Eagles. I had to think. I'm it's tough because
You're also a Giants fan.
I mean, I think the Eagles are the best team in football. I think that they're just going into a bad time at Arrowhead. I think it's just going to be rocking.
The only thing I see with it is that the Eagles got, I would say, embarrassed, or at least they have a chip on their shoulder. They didn't really get embarrassed in the Super Bowl. But, I mean,
they got a chip.
They were heavy favorites going in. weren't they? I thought they were because their secondary was better than the Chiefs.
Not heavy favorites at all.
They were like a 3-point favorite.
Yeah, so it wasn't too big.
That's about it. Yeah.
But still, I mean, you lose the Super Bowl. You were slated to win it. Everyone was saying, hey, we picked Eagles. Maybe the people were saying, like the broadcasters and all. I think the Eagles have that chip on their shoulder. I think they're going to come back. They're going to go in Arrowhead and try and embarrass the Chiefs for beating them in the Super Bowl. So I'm going to go Eagles. Sorry, Griffin. I know you're a Giants fan.
The Giants are in shambles at this point.
But that's going to be one. Commanders or Giants? You got the leading passer. And Sam Howell. But yeah, I'm going Eagles. I'm going Eagles over Chiefs.
Awesome.
For sure, though, I mean, no matter if you're watching the game or not, it's going to be on your phone. It's going to be on social media for sure. But for sure, we'll see what that happens. It's a song for another time, though. That's going to do it for us on today's episode of The Extra Point. Thank you guys for watching. Obviously, like, comment, and subscribe. And, yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Smash that like button.